have everything figured out and you know how this season's going to start to play out, teams start, moving away from the pack and stuff like that and separating themselves, all of a sudden comes the first Saturday in October in week 6, and then boom, we got major upsets happening across the country. We have other teams asserting their dominance over some conference rivals. But it is just a wild season. This is one for the ages already. You can just tell that, it's bananas. That's the only way I can put the 2025 college football season so far. This is College Football Tailgate. This is our Week 6 recap and reaction show. I'm Dan Watkins. John McKechnie is here. John, what a weekend, man. Holy crap.
I am totally.
He's at a loss for words. He's at a loss for words. He can't even formulate this with the words from what just happened over the last 48 hours.
I'm verklempt. But gosh, I think okay. So I also work at rotowire.com. I write a college football DFS article every week, and the UCLA Penn State game was on the slate this week on DraftKings. So I'm looking at the numbers. I know who UCLA is. I know that Penn State's going to be all pissed off after the Oregon game. And I wrote to kind of start off that blurb. I almost feel bad for UCLA, and boy was I wrong. That is the ultimate did not see that coming type of. I thought that UCLA was deader than dead. I wonder almost if Foster was still the coach that the same thing happens. They really did seem to respond from that particular firing. I know we kind of got into the pseudoscience of that a little bit, but we have also talked about the long road trips and how that can kind of create some wackiness. But ultimately, I just think that UCLA came to play. I think Nico in particular came to play, and Penn State just thought that they were punching their ticket and moving forward. Not the case. They were in for a fight all 60 minutes, and they lost it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Penn State and Texas, the top two teams in the preseason polls, have fallen all the way out of the AP Top 25. It's the first time since 2022 since that's happened, after they both lost to unranked opponents over the weekend. We're obviously going to start with those two games. We're going to talk about this Penn State loss to UCLA. We will get to Texas and their loss to Florida as well. But, we got to start off with what happened in the Rose Bowl on Saturday. I'm so conflicted on how to put this, because on one hand, it's hilarious to me that Penn State lost to a team that's as bad as UCLA is. Two, it would have been so much better if the crowd was there and existed. Because just seeing an empty Rose Bowl is just it's sad. It hurts me, John. It does. I don't like the feeling, but at the same time, it just made it. I think it made it that much more comical with what happened on Saturday to Penn State. Oh boy, this is bad. Now you got people calling for James Franklin's, really calling for his job now after what happened out there in California. UCLA, according to Bill Connolly, it was the first time that a team 0-4 or worse has beaten and knocked off a top 10 opponent since 1985, when an 0-6 UTEP beat the then defending champion BYU Cougars. Since the start of the 2022 season, only 5 teams have gained at least 430 yards on Penn State. Michigan and Ohio State in 2022, Ole Miss in 2023, Oregon in 2024, and then UCLA last year. One of these things is not like the other. That also hat tip to Bill Connolly for digging that up. But this is historical what happened this past weekend in the Rose Bowl.
And to just kind of underscore how seismic this was and how ready the voting populace was ready to punish Penn State for this. It is the second biggest drop in the rankings since 1959, when Oklahoma fell to Northwestern in their season opener. I know we talk about that game sometimes, but clearly we needed to give it a little bit more oxygen. So obviously Penn State falling to unranked after being in the 7th spot. So that's just, my goodness. And I think what makes it worse for Penn State, and it's hard to feel worse, you kind of got beat straight up. There weren't a lot of fluky, weird plays. There weren't a ton of stupid turnovers. Penn State did lose the fumble, but that was it. Otherwise, UCLA just kind of beat you straight up. That's the problem.
Right. And like if we're going into this season and even like last week, if you were to ask me, right, how does Penn State lose to an inferior team this year? My answer to you would be, well, Drew Allard has a terrible game. Like he coughs it up, throws 4 interceptions or something like that. I can't even like rag on Drew Allard for his performance on Saturday. The offense still puts up over 30 points in that one. The defense, like I'm like looking at this and I'm just like, did they quit on their coach? Like that's really the question. I don't like to go there, but really, Penn State giving up 446 yards to UCLA. UCLA 52 carries, 280 yards, 5.4 yards per carry. They were 10 of 16 on third down. They dominated the time of possession. They basically played keep away. Nearly 2-1 on the time of possession chart at almost 40-20 here. And then Jerry Neuheisel, he hadn't even practiced with a headset until the game started on Saturday. It just gets worse and worse any way you look at for this Penn State defense that was supposed to be one of the top units in the country. And they're just getting drubbed by UCLA on a Saturday afternoon in October in Los Angeles or Pasadena. Excuse me.
Boy, the state of Pennsylvania had themselves a weekend, right? You know, like you got this happening. The Phillies lose on Saturday night. The Eagles lose yesterday. So I mean, I don't pour one out for the Keystone State people. They're sort of my natural rival of just a statehood. But boy, tough weekend for them generally, and of course Penn State certainly the most embarrassing of them all. And last thing I'll add here. I know going into the season, there's some kind of debate, like Notre Dame or Penn State, who's got like the best backfield tandem. What's up with these guys? I think in particular, Nick Singleton is the guy that's driving me crazy because he theoretically is a more talented guy. He was the 5-star. And I looked at it just like kind of a very basic, so that, you know, I can obviously get clapped back for this, but freshman year, like 6 yards a carry. Sophomore year, 4 yards a carry. Junior year, like 6.5 yards per carry. That was last year. This year, like not even sniffing 4 yards per carry. And that was, again, the case, 3.5 yards per carry against UCLA. I don't know how he runs so hot and cold. I'm guessing that maybe there's some injury or something that he's playing through because this doesn't make a lick of sense.
Because he had like 10 carries for like 20 yards against Oregon a couple weeks ago, and then he follows it up with that. Like something's got to be going on there. But really, John, like I come out of this game and like the only thing I can think of right now, is just that Penn State's just an unserious team. They're an unserious program right now. They can't elevate to that next level, and now they're getting picked off by teams that are. I mean, if this was English Premier League soccer, UCLA would be getting relegated to the FCS. Not anymore after that win, but that's what it was like going into this game.
So Penn State, I think like the big lesson that we learned from this opening month plus of the season for them is, you know, like these last few years they've been really good, but that, you know, you always know that they're probably going to lose like one or two big games. The burden of expectations is clearly too much for them because they were getting national title hype. You know, it's like this is the year. It's a perfect storm. They got everybody back, and everyone else is kind of like starting over at quarterback, this and that. They've got Drew Aller. They've got this great defense. They got Knowles. And nope. It's just that they've completely crumbled under the pressure. I guess maybe Dan Lanning broke them.
Maybe. And just going back to the one thing about Penn State that's always supposed to be there and always keep them in games, that defense, it was just non-existent, absolutely pathetic, the way they just got steamrolled by UCLA. Once again, UCLA, 52 carries, 280 yards, over 5 yards per carry on Penn State. And we got to shout out Nico Iamaleava, who was just a monster with his legs on Saturday afternoon. That's UCLA's quarterback, for those of you who don't know him or can't pronounce his name. He was just incredible. 128 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, picking up first down after first down as UCLA, once again, I'll just reiterate, just dominated Penn State in the time of possession, almost 40-20 on that game clock. So just shout out to Nico, who played probably his best game that we've seen in a long time from him, maybe even in his college career, like excluding like the Kent State game from a year ago.
Yeah, like the Tennessee Bowl game, like when he was taking over for Milton, was like sort of what got him all the Heisman hype going. So like, it's basically been since then that he's been thought of this positively. And I will say, I agree with everything you're saying there, but it was a little bit funny given the circumstances under which he left Tennessee. There was like a quote card after the game. Nico's like, I told everyone in the locker room before this, if you don't want to be here, then get lost. It's like, It's a little rich coming from you, pal, but you know what? Respect. You got the big upset.
I mean, he was just telegraphing his move, his ultimate transfer. He didn't want to be there, so he got lost. And we found him. We found him in Pasadena, California, over the weekend. As UCLA comes away with that 42-37 win. All right, guys, so if you are watching the show right now, do us a favor. Make sure you're subscribed, or if you're listening on podcast, make sure you are following the show as well. We are at College Football Tailgate on YouTube and also Spotify and Apple. You can find us on any of those 3 platforms for the full show. You can follow us on Twitter at CFB Tailgate 25. Check out our TikTok page, too. That's where the most fun is, especially in the comments section. We are at CFB Tailgate on that platform. And if you want to follow us individually, John is at Johns_tailgate. I am at Dan Watkins Radio, as we continue to just try to build this fine show that we got for you guys every single week. Twice a week, new episodes, usually Monday and Thursday, a recap show, a preview show. Pretty straightforward, but we will continue to do that throughout the season there. So just make sure you do us a favor. Make sure that you are subscribed if you are checking this out, because it helps us as we continue to grow it. All right, now, did a little ragging on Penn State. Now it's time to talk about Texas. Texas goes down to the Swamp, and they fall to the Gators 29-21. John, the story to me when I looked at this one, when I was watching this one, was just like Florida's defensive line manhandled Texas. Like, that's pretty much how I felt coming out of this one. The Texas O-line, big-time concern, something I did not expect I'd be saying at all this season, but they got some big-time issues up front right now. Arch Manning looked uncomfortable all day, sacked 6 times, just uncomfortable, clunky, turned the ball over a couple of times, misfires constantly throughout the game. His feet are all over the place. If you like see some of those like quarterback expert Twitter accounts and stuff like that, they're just pointing out that like his mechanics were just terrible on Saturday. And I got to give all the credit to Billy Napier's defensive line, because they were awesome.
Yeah, the Gators were eaten in the Swamp, and like going into this game, like I know that Florida is a tough home environment, but I thought that the vibes were bad enough in Gainesville, right, to where and like you knew that like they were going to pack the place out. Like you have kind of a novel program like Texas coming in, like they haven't been to the Swamp, I don't know if ever. So like of course like the place is going to be packed and rocking and all that, but I just didn't think it was going to matter after like the first quarter or something. I thought
right,
that Texas would just kind of take the air out of the building, go on some long drives, and then, you know, on the other side, stop a Florida defense or Florida offense that has been really good at just stopping itself for like,
yeah.
but you know, leaving alone the fact that Texas coming in, I thought had the best defense in college football. Could not believe that defensive performance from Texas. Like really pretty abysmal stuff from them. I mean, Lagway throwing for almost 300 yards on you. Not good. Jaden Baugh, who, you know, we had some concerns about going into the week, like tough matchup, runs for over 100 yards. So just a really abysmal, like that I think is like the most like WTF part of this, because I think everything else on the other side of the ball has largely been telegraphed as far as Texas goes. Like this offense is in big trouble. Like we knew that, and we knew that beating Sam Houston and San Jose State, like those weren't like actual fixes whatsoever.
Don't forget UTEP. Don't forget UTEP.
I apologize for forgetting UTEP. But you know, like those games, it was just like, okay, maybe like the best you can come away from it from a takeaway perspective is like maybe they just kind of got their confidence back, that type of thing. And then Emmett Mosley came back. You know, he was like kind of going to be this big deal of a transfer. Parker Livingstone made an unbelievable catch and hurt his leg on that one. But other than that, Quinn Wisner, I think he pulled up his hamstring again, scoring the touchdown. So it's just like their pets' heads are falling off as far as like the offense goes, and Arch can't pull them out of it. And if the defense is going to be like this, it's not going to be enough to overcome the shortcomings on this offense. So once again, I feel like this similar to the Ohio State game, where it's like, yes, Texas had a chance to win it at the end, but you knew that they weren't going to do it.
Right. Yeah, and like you mentioned DJ Lagway's performance, which to me was like the most shocking thing of this game, was how good Lagway was against this defense that we were hyping up big time going into this matchup. Yes, Lagway throws for almost 300 yards, as you mentioned, but the really shocking thing to me was DJ Lagway had a 75% completion percentage. Like,
That's
when
crazy.
has that happened? 21 of 28, 298 yards, a couple touchdowns. And, Jaden Baugh runs crazy. Was not expecting that. And then don't sleep on, too, the unsung hero who's come out of nowhere, Dallas Wilson. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the big stage, my man. 6 catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns in his college debut. Like, where's he been the past couple weeks? And forgive me, I don't know his full story. All I know is what I saw on Saturday. He was awesome. Like, were they just like had him stored away somewhere and like in case of emergency break glass, and they finally got to that point when they got to October? But he was awesome on Saturday.
I will get to the bottom of this as well, but I do know his recruiting background. I know that he was a 5-star, kind of like the big feather in their cap from this past recruiting cycle. So like there is definitely a want to get him onto the field, but it obviously just hadn't happened to this point. I think he was dealing with a lower leg injury that was slowing him down, and they just wanted to kind of make sure that he was good to go by the time that full conference play rolled around. And whereas like the 5-star quarterbacks they seem to be a total crapshoot. 5-star receivers like Dallas Wilson, like they tend to be ready to rock right away. Like man among boys. I mean, we saw with Jeremiah Smith obviously last year and everything, and a handful of other guys. But Wilson, he's someone that I had some interest in like college fantasy football coming into the year. I mean, 6'3", 215 out of Tampa, like. It's a big fella that can move, can make some plays. So that could be something that gives like the much needed jolt to this offense, because like Vernell Brown and J. Michael Sturdivant, the transfers from Cal, they're solid number 2, number 3 type options. They needed a number 1. Trey Wilson apparently just like he's just like a figment of everyone's imagination. So Wilson needs to be that guy, and it seems like he is.
Yeah, definitely. And in a lot of these like game recaps and stuff like that, people of course have to like just jump to like the immediate like let's just like put like a 10, like crank this thing up to 10, going like Lagway and Wilson like recreating memories of Tebow and Percy Harvin and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, we've gone here. Like this team is still 2-3 right now. But okay,
you guys
sure,
remember
we'll
when
do
you
that.
lost to USF?
Yeah, exactly. But I just want to shout out Florida's defensive line again. Yes, they frustrated Arch all day, but they also held Texas to 2 yards per carry, which is just insane what they did, that defensive unit. And then on the other side, Florida averaged 7 yards per play in this game, which just damning for that Texas defense. The lucky thing, I guess, for Texas to take, if you want to be like glass half full, like they do have a chance to bounce back in a big way coming up here in week 7 with Red River coming up against Oklahoma. They could like just completely erase those memories. They only have 1 conference loss. They could still figure some things out. But like right now, vibes are very bad in Austin, I would say, right now on this Monday.
Yeah, I have some notes on the offensive line during the Monday Cope segment, but I will make sure that this gets in here. So, in college football, like there's just, we're bringing this up, that it can't be good. So we're seeing side-by-sides of Sark and Jimbo Fisher. Okay, according to Robert Behrens, Steve Sarkisian's tenure at Texas and Jimbo Fisher's start of his tenure at Texas A&M aren't as different as you might think through 60 games. Records, Steve Sarkisian, 41-19, 39-21 for Jimbo Fisher. Top 10 wins. Sark has 2. Jimbo Fisher had 5. They have 5 different quarterbacks started and 1 recruiting class ranked number 1 apiece. So is Sark Jimbo Fisher with a better haircut? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've always been very high on Sark, especially at this job. Like, I think he still is the right guy for Texas. I think maybe some other pieces that are going on with Texas might need to be moved around right now, and we'll get to that coming up in Grill It or Chill It in a few minutes. But something's off, and something does not smell right there in Austin. I think the parallel to me kind of just rings true in the sense that like A&M in this era, like they were able to unlock a level of resources that like previously, like they got lightning in a bottle with Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans and Myles Garrett and all that. But it's like, okay, they have a recruiting class that is to the point where Nick Saban needs to have a town hall about it, right? So like they put everyone on notice all summer long. Same crap with Texas. Like, look out. Like, The Athletic publishes a piece saying Texas is a new Alabama, having not actually won anything. And it's a stark reminder that, and I keep going back to this comparison, but like Texas kind of reminds me of that kid on your team that wasn't that good but had the nicest gear.
Yeah, a little bit, definitely. And like I think this all comes back to, can Arch Manning figure it out? Like, because like everything is on his shoulders. I feel like, and like he's going to have to, especially if their defense is going to allow offenses like Florida's to do what they did, go up and down the field and just constantly keep moving the chains and stuff like that. So it's tough. Let's put a pin in this. We'll come back to Texas in a little bit because there are some other things like big picture wise I do think we should hit on here before the show is over. We got to talk about Alabama. Bama takes down Vandy 30-14 in Tuscaloosa. Holy backdoor cover, by the way, if you were on Bama minus 10.5 like we were. John, I come out of this game just more impressed with Ty Simpson. He overcomes the early interception, and then he ends up settling in, finishes with 340 yards, a couple touchdowns. Jam Miller becoming a bigger part of this offense, runs for over 136. I do want to give Vandy credit, though. They hung around. They're very pesky. They were averaging over 12 yards per carry in the first half, and then all of a sudden, like the Bama defense, like finally showed up and allowed just 9 yards in the second half as Alabama shut out Vanderbilt in the second half here, 16-0. And they forced a couple red zone turnovers here too. But big takeaways, just really impressed with Ty Simpson in this offense still, and then just I think I didn't give Vandy enough love going into this game, even though we did ultimately cover our Bama pick that we had.
Yeah, like it's no disrespect to Vandy, and like the fact that we're having this conversation about Vanderbilt and their game against Alabama speaks volumes about what Clark Lee and Diego Pavia have been able to do with that program. So even though they didn't cover, it felt like they were in that game basically until like the middle of the fourth quarter. Like I kind of felt like Alabama, like they just weren't putting it away, but like they were outplaying Vanderbilt. But the first half, I mean, Vandy was taking the fight right to them. I thought that Vandy was getting after the quarterback really well. I mean, we didn't see that at all with the Georgia game whatsoever.
Right.
Simpson had all day to throw in that one. Vandy, like those guys play with an edge. Like they were getting after Simpson a little bit, knocking him around. Like I was very impressed by that. 100%. And I do also have to say one of my absolute favorite clips from the weekend, Pavia practicing the victory formation kneel down in warm-ups. What a stud. Like this man knows no fear. Like he wants all the smoke, all the respect to Diego Pavia. I know he didn't get it done there, but there's still a lot in front of this Vanderbilt team. But yes, I think the big takeaway here is that Alabama got the stink of that upset loss a year ago off of them, and we're kind of seeing Alabama rolling. I mean, Ty Simpson, 11 yards per pass attempt. I'm sure it wasn't too different from last week. Like he's really dialed in right now, and he makes this Tide team, I think, a legit national contender.
Yeah, absolutely. And he definitely has bought them time for this defense to figure it out. And maybe this defense did just figure something out in the second half. As I mentioned, holding Vanderbilt to just 9 yards rushing after allowing over 12 yards per carry in the first half. And they pitched that shutout, forced some timely turnovers in the red zone too. So if Alabama's defense does start to figure it out and can play almost close to that level that their offense is at, that's a very scary thing for everybody else in the SEC. Here with the Tide, as it looks like they are starting to roll a little bit. But this schedule is going to crank up. They got a huge road game at Missouri this week that we will break down coming up on our Thursday show. I would assume that is a pretty big matchup between those two schools. But yeah, really loving what Ty Simpson's doing right now there down in Tuscaloosa. All right. He is, absolutely. Let's get to Grill It or Chill It. So for those of you who are new, first off, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that follow button. Secondly, we do Grill It or Chill It because we are College Football Tailgate. It is our version of a buy or sell or in or out segment, something like that. So let's just get right to it. John, Miami just beat Florida State 28-22 in Tallahassee over the weekend. Grill it or chill it, Miami is the best team in college football.
I'm grilling it. I am grilling this one. And that game wasn't nearly as close as the final score would tell you. I mean, you talk about a garbage time, putting lipstick on the pig. Like that was Florida State towards the end. I mean, they did. We almost had a Cristobaling. If that onside kick goes a different way, maybe we're having a different conversation. But ultimately, I do think that Miami is the best team in college football right now. We've talked about it all season long, how good the trenches are. When Beck has all day to throw, and you have guys like Malachi Toney and CJ Daniels, boy, that's just tough to stop. And when they're winning the trenches every single down, seemingly, it's just they at least have the formula. Are they going to get it done? I'm not quite ready to say that they will. I know that Ohio State is just kind of like this lurking giant off in the distance, and Oregon continues to impress every single week. But I think right now, resume and eye test married up, I got to say it's the Canes right now. I'm grilling it.
Yeah, right now I'm saying Miami is the best team in the country for one reason, their offensive line. I think Miami's offensive line is the best singular unit in the entire country. They are awesome, and that is shout out to Mario Cristobal for recruiting and then coaching these guys. We know when Mario has a solid offensive line, like his teams are a lot of fun to watch, and that's what Miami is right now. As you mentioned, Carson Beck all day to throw, and when that happens, he's going to carve you up. You have to pressure him, or he is going to look like that guy that was like potentially going to be the number 1 overall pick last year. Instead, he's back in college, and he looked like that over the weekend, I thought, going 20 of 27, 240 yards, 4 touchdowns. Miami also overcame 13 penalties in this game. They had 114 penalty yards. That's something that's going to have to get cleaned up down the road, but right now, we're good. And as you mentioned, too, with Florida State, just quickly on them, like they had over 400 yards of offense in this game. Over 200 of those yards came in the fourth quarter when they were down by 25 points. So I'm not really taking anything out of that in the Miami defense. Castellanos has come right back down to earth. As we've seen, if you keep him and can contain him, as we've seen with what Miami kind of did, like he's going to look very, very pedestrian in what he was at Boston College, where Alabama just, for some reason, just decided to let him run all over the place. But, I mean, maybe they'll figure that out at some point. And as we talked about last week, Miami, like that number was going to go crazy. It was at like we had like plus 105s out there for Miami to win the ACC going into this game. I just looked on DraftKings before we came on, John. It's at minus 185 now. That's only going to get worse odds from this point on. And Miami at right now is the only they're the only team I feel conviction in picking to win one of the Power Four conferences. Like everywhere else, the other three, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, we can make arguments all over the place.
Right.
I'm not hearing arguments right now against Miami while they're healthy.
No,
someone else.
I don't think so either. Like it would take, so sort of like what I was saying about like UCLA earlier. Like not to say that the difference between Miami and everyone else is quite that big, but it's going to be hard for an ACC team to beat Miami without some luck, but behind it, like some kind of fluky stuff happening, Beck turning into the pumpkin or getting pressured and turning the ball over, that type of thing, like we saw a couple times, especially last year at Georgia. But in the meantime, someone's got to do it. No one's done it yet. No one's made them look uncomfortable yet.
Right? Like I would love if we get to see a healthy Haynes King take on Miami and Charlotte for the ACC championship. I think that would be a lot of fun, that matchup. But I mean, with Haynes King, we don't know if we're going to get that. That's the only thing. Because the dude's just such a baller. Like he literally throws his body on the line every single week, like more so than other players do. Everybody does. But if you get what I'm saying, the Haynes King just goes all out every single week, and he usually gets pretty banged up by the end of the season. Yeah,
this is one of my like favorite like tropes to use for quarterbacks like him. I used to use it on like Taylor Heineke or like Eric Dungy at Syracuse. Like hi, hi, I'm Haynes King. Welcome to Jackass. This is third and 4. Like,
I'm just gonna launch myself into the offensive line.
Bingo.
Pretty much. Very good. All right. Next up, John. Billy Napier just pulled off that big upset against Texas over the weekend. Florida getting that win. So grill it or chill it. Billy Napier has saved his job for 2026.
I'm chilling it, but his seat has also been chilled. I think beating Texas is big time for them. And I think the big takeaways, like we were talking about, like this offense actually looking good, Lagway looking like the guy that he was supposed to, that's going to help things. I think that Florida needs one more signature win, though, to make sure that Billy is back. The ones that I'm circling right now as those potential moments, obviously the Georgia game in November, that would be a massive feather in their cap with that rivalry game. I think Tennessee at home is a sweet spot. If he beats Tennessee in the Swamp, I think that Billy's back next year. And I do think if you're Florida, like obviously this season's not going the way that you want it to, this last week notwithstanding, but I think they're one of those few programs that can kind of be like, we're pushing our chips to the table for next year. Like, if they have this nucleus back where they have DJ Lagway still on campus and they have Dallas Wilson turning into the SEC version of Jeremiah Smith, and they have this good defense, I know they're going to lose some stuff off the offensive line, but 26 Florida, especially when they get out from the sheer weight of this crazy conference schedule that they've had to play these last 2 years, it lightens up a little bit for them next year. I think if you're Florida, you want to kind of have that long-term approach and just say, hey, like next year is going to be our year, but you do need to avoid the embarrassments the rest of the way. Like, you can't lose to Miss State in the swamp. You can't go to Kentucky and sleepwalk. But if you pick off one of those teams, whether it's Georgia, Tennessee, or Florida State at the very end, I think Billy's back next year.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm in a weird spot where I can't really grill this or chill this yet either. Just like kind of what you were just hinting at. Like, got to see a little bit more here. Like, this could be like, the vibes are good right now in Gainesville. The vibes are good right now after that win against Texas. But, like, what if they go to College Station on Saturday coming up here and just get absolutely drubbed? Like, what if Elko's team just absolutely pushes them around for 60 minutes and they come back, like, losing, like, 40-6 or something like that because they just got absolutely waxed against Texas A&M. So you got to keep building on this. They got some big-time teams coming up on this schedule. We know the Florida schedule is insane between A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, as you were mentioning. Got to keep getting it. And, like, I think Napier's got to get them to, like, he's got to get to bowl eligibility, I feel like, to be truly safe going into next season.
Yeah, definitely. So it's still an open question to be sure, but I think we are in that position where you win the games that you're supposed to the rest of the way, and you get one upset, and I think that Billy's back.
So on the other side of that Florida-Texas game, you got Texas, who just lost. Arch Manning looking really uncomfortable all day, gets sacked 6 times. His mechanics were all over the place, awful, overthrowing, misfires all day. Couple interceptions in this one. John, grill it or chill it. Texas should consider working in another quarterback.
And I had this internal monologue during the last drive when that kid came in after Arch lost his helmet, and he hits the really nice completion. His name, Matthew Caldwell. I'm gonna chill this in the sense that it's just not gonna happen without Arch being injured. I think, like, this is so crappy of a run out for Texas in the sense that, like, the political weight of benching Arch Manning when you've been building, like, your whole identity around, like, oh Lord, he coming for 3 years and it's this bad. Like, it still somehow has to get worse for Arch for them to consider it. But I have some very good friends that are Texas fans. I know that I love to bag on Texas on this show, but their fans are very, like, open and honest and like direct about the state of things. And they're like, Arch is not the guy. He's definitely not the guy right now. Why not, like, try Caldwell? But I just think ultimately, like, the political weight of the Arch Manning name is working against this Texas program right now.
Yeah, I'm chilling this too. Like, you have attached yourself to the Manning train, the Arch Manning train, the family, all of that. Way too much was made going into this season, John, as you just pointed out with him, that you have to ride this thing to the very end, through the end of this season, and see where you're at. You can't bench him, like, at this point. Like, your season is literally on his shoulders. Like, he's staying in there. He's not going anywhere as long as he's healthy. Arch Manning is their quarterback. I don't see them going in a different direction.
Okay, I just had a kind of diabolical galaxy brain thing where, like, again, talking about the political weight of it all, like, the Manning family and Arch could be like, we're not leaving Texas. Sark, you are. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but, I don't think that they want Arch to transfer. But obviously, like, Texas is going to be kind of like having to be thinking about it if this season from hell kind of continues. What if Lane sneaks in?
That's what I was just about to say. Like, where would he go if he was to transfer? There's one school that he would go, and it'd be the king of smack talk and someone who would take that Twitter nonsense to infinity level. Like, that would be unbelievable.
Dude, I think we might have just cooked something up here. I think so. We've had a couple on this show between Arch Manning, 2026 quarterback at Ole Miss, and is Arch the worst bust, or is Arch DJU 2.0? And so I like some of these diabolical things. Again, I do love bagging on Texas. Our Texas listeners and fans, I appreciate y'all, but we're just telling the truth. We're not really lying about any of this or being unfair about it.
Right. I mean, that's not like the most like unrealistic thing that's been floated out here between the two of us since we've been doing this show. Arch Manning somehow ending up at Ole Miss in 2026. All right. So Penn State, they have dropped out of the top 25 after just getting upset as a 25-point favorite against UCLA. UCLA comes away with that 42-37 win. The Nittany Lions are 3-2, John. Grill it or chill it. Penn State will figure it out and still make the playoff.
I'm chilling it because they're not winning the Big Ten, and they're going to have at least 3 losses. You lose to UCLA, everything is up for negotiation. You have to go to Iowa later this month. You have to go to Ohio State. You have to play Nebraska. I think that they lose at least one more game, and probably 2 more. So I think that this Nittany Lions season is basically over, but for playing out the string here, I imagine that they're going to get drubbed by Ohio State, and like that. Then I think that's going to be kind of like that next wave of fervor for getting out from under the Franklin contract, and losing to either Iowa or Nebraska, I think would be the final nail.
Yeah, and don't forget they have to play Indiana too. Like this schedule with how this offense looks, like this is not going to go well right now unless they have some true insane rah-rah moment and do something that Penn State has never done under James Franklin and knock off potentially number 1 in the country in Ohio State at some point. Like, I don't see it. This is so cold. I am chilling this. This is basically Penn State right now, John, is basically like when you're at the frat house and your buddy sneaks into your room and takes the bottle of vodka out of your freezer, drinks it, fills it back up with water, puts it back in, and then when you open it to get your drink, it's frozen solid. Like, what just happened? Where is it? Like, that's how cold I am on Penn State right now. They are done with a capital D.
I remember those shenanigans, and I remember them well.
The worst. Absolutely the worst. Speaking of the worst, I think we should probably get to this next one here. We have held off on talking about what happened in Chapel Hill, North Carolina on Saturday to this point. Clemson, 38. UNC, 10. Clemson was up in this game 28-3 at the end of the first quarter. It was bad. First play touchdown on a halfback pass or a wide receiver pass, some sort of trick play. Just we were off to the races with nonsense in this game as just it continues to get worse for Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill. So John, grill it or chill it, Bill Belichick should resign as the head coach of the UNC football team.
I'm grilling it. We're reaching the point where it is lacking a certain sense of object permanence to say that like this truly tarnishes Bill Belichick's career, but it is going to be everyone's lasting memory of it, and
sure.
It's an absolute disaster. And so just get out now, like save the University of North Carolina some shame. This is really bad. This is unconscionably bad. Like the crowd shots on Saturday in Chapel Hill were just a bunch of gals in sundresses just looking off in disbelief at how bad things have gotten. I mean, that wasn't even a contest. And we have spent so much airtime just bagging on this Clemson team all year, and they go in there and it looks like just absolutely no problem. So to give you guys a little bit of timeline on just like the embarrassment level. So Ross Martin this morning, he's kind of like the UNC correspondent over at 247 Sports. According to sources inside the UNC football program, it is a directive from the staff, parentheses Bill Belichick, to not tweet or retweet anything Patriots related. That's clearly why UNC has not posted anything from Drake May's electric primetime win over the Buffalo Bills. Interesting. So that's at 8 a.m. this morning. At 9:12 Eastern time this morning, Coach Mac Brown, remember him? Former coach of the UNC Tar Heels, tweets out a picture of him and Drake May. So happy for Drake. Fun to watch him win last night in Buffalo. And then, wouldn't you know it, and the public had caught on to it at this point, the weirdness of the University of North Carolina's football Twitter account not posting about their best player basically since Julius Peppers, having that huge moment, beating Josh Allen on Sunday Night Football. Also, shout out to you, Waddy, for that one. 9:56 a.m. UNC football finally tweets something out about Drake May. So the public pressure is getting to them clearly, and Belichick is not helping.
Yeah, and then the next follow-up on that, too, Jonathan Jones of CBS 10:41 a.m. on this Monday morning. For what it's worth, in the lack of social media posts that the last month aside, hanging in Bill Belichick's UNC office is a signed UNC Drake May jersey, and Carolina sent him a care package as recently as last week. So it feels like the PR spin is out. But that brings me, John, to where I'm at with this. Bill Belichick needs to step aside, or UNC needs to step in and cut the cord here. This thing is a disaster. I called UNC the most fascinating team in the country over the summer. I'm sticking by that, but in the sense of like a 20-car pileup that is on fire and everybody is rubbernecking, like fascinating, that level. This is so bad. This has gone so poorly for Bill Belichick. Yes, it is ruining his legacy. It is. We are at the point now where this is just so pathetic that Bill has... Really, it looks like he has no idea what he got himself into, or he just doesn't care. They are everybody's get-right game at this point. UNC has played 4 Power 4 opponents this year. They have played TCU, UCF, and Clemson. They have gone 0-3 in those games, and they have been outscored 120-33. That is almost a 90-point differential in just 3 games. They are getting stomped on a weekly basis. They have 2 wins against Charlotte and Richmond. Like, get lost with that. Like, I don't see how this gets any better for UNC this year. I don't know if they're going to be favored again. Not that matters or anything like that, but I have a hard time picking them against any of these teams in the ACC that they're going to play. Even Stanford right now might be able to go across the country and beat UNC. After a first drive field goal for them, which we've seen North Carolina, like they script pretty well that first drive. We saw the touchdown against TCU. We see the field goal against Clemson. John, they went 3 and out the next 4 drives with 12 plays and -5 yards. It's bad across the board. I don't really know what we were all expecting, myself included. They turned over, 75% of this roster with all new guys. They don't have the talent. Bill can't coach up poor talent at this level the same way he could in the NFL. It's bad. It's only going to get worse. And like, I don't know if he even cares at this point. It's awful.
No, it's unrecognizable Bill Belichick stuff. Like, never would he be outclassed like this and out schemed. Like, even if like the Patriots didn't have like a lockstep talent advantage, like you knew that the Patriots were going to be able to cook something up and like find a way to win, or at least make it uncomfortable. Like, this is just like, I feel like, remember like the first Men in Black movie where the guy's head pops open, there's just like a little alien controlling it?
Right.
Like that seems like Bill at this point. Like, he's not him, or like from Futurama, like he's got the brain slug, but it's Jordan.
It's awful. It's just awful. It's sad, and like someone's got to step in here and be like, Bill, like, time to go. Like, yeah. Get your cocktail napkin and write "I resign" as HC of UNC. And we are at that point.
Here, let's get a timeline on this.
Go ahead, please.
Let's set our over/under for when we expect a decision on North Carolina firing Belichick or him stepping away.
So it's going to have to come, I think, for this, how this ends, is that UNC is going to have to cut the cord, because Bill is the most stubborn MFer on the planet and will never admit he's wrong. He still has not admitted to anything when it comes to like Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl and why he didn't play against the Eagles in 2017. So he is not going to admit he's wrong and that this was a total disaster. So UNC is going to have to step in, and it will be probably like the Mac Brown situation sometime in the middle of November.
Okay, yeah. So right now they go to Cal 2 Fridays from now, home against Virginia, at Syracuse, home against Stanford November 8th, at Wake.
Let's go after that one. When Stanford flies across the country and beats UNC by 3 touchdowns, that will be when it happens.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. The over-under for the Bill Belichick being over November 8th.
Yeah, or whatever the day it was, November 9th. Is that the Sunday? So give me till the end of that weekend. Yeah, let's go with that weekend.
Great.
All right, very good. All right, moving on. Monday Cope, Monday Smoke. John, who's on the couch this week?
Well, we got to start with Texas, right? And I know I was gassing up some of my Texas mutuals. This guy not among them. This guy, very annoying on Twitter, so I'm happy to be reading his post. He's at Doc Texas. Display name, they calling us New Bama.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go. Quinn screwed up the timetable when he didn't declare after the 23 season because that was the OL Arch thought he would inherit. That's insane.
It's now Quinn Ewers' fault. That's whose fault this is. It's Quinn Ewers.
It's all Quinn. It's all Quinn.
Okay.
2 years ago,
Let
Quinn
me write that
Ewers'
down.
fault. So apparently, Arch came to UT, banking on playing behind the 2024 Texas offensive line, and the plan is all out the window. I don't know. Like, could Texas have gotten good offensive linemen or something, or was there like a sort of NCAA mandated, like you guys are at your limit, you can't recruit offensive? No. So I don't understand that one. That is the best cope I've seen in a minute. Like, there's been a couple instances on this show where someone does the cope so good. I think it was the Tennessee game when they were doing the body language analysis of Kirby. Look how excited Kirby Smart was. So that's this level. Blaming 2023 Quinn Ewers for Arch Manning's shortcomings, that's unreal. Tip of the cap, honestly, to Doc Texas. Penn State, I mean, you're just coping. Like, I really have nothing to add to what we talked about earlier. I think that you're making yourselves smarter by educating yourselves on buyout law and ways in which Penn State can get out of this, because right now, and it is a massive buyout, by the way. They just gave him that extension, didn't they? Yep. So things are, these agents are able to make these college football coaches literal god kings.
Best job in America. Best job in America.
Boy, he's going to be getting paid till the time his great grandchildren are old. It's bananas. So Penn State, I'm sorry I don't have a great cope for you, but that's kind of the state of affairs right now. And Vandy, you were in it till the end, and you were very entertaining. You gave us an amazing first half, a lot of fun. Defense was flying around, 4 sacks on Ty Simpson, Diego Pavia. Really gritty performance, I thought, overall. So nothing to hang your head about going into Tuscaloosa. They were just the better team on Saturday, but a lot of season up ahead of you if you're a Doors fan. On the smoke side, UCLA, all I got is the Paul Rudd Hot Ones meme. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Look at us.
Look at us.
So that's just, I mean, what a fun injection of electricity into this UCLA program that had been lacking it for a long, long time. I can't really remember the last time that there was a national discussion about UCLA that was even remotely positive. So good on them. Miami. If I'm a Miami fan, I'm saying we're the best team. We got the best resume, 12-0 in our sights. It very much is. Miami's schedule is pretty much cake from here on. You kind of have to twist yourself into a pretzel for games against I think Louisville.
At Pitt at the end of the year could be weather pending, but you're going to need some real external elements, I think, for that one to come to fruition.
Exactly. So they're wearing their turnover chains down there, and they're feeling good about themselves. Michael Irvin going nuts. But Miami definitely just walking around. You're the state champs of Florida. You've beaten UF, FSU, and USF. They win. They win. And then lastly, A&M. This is their highest ranking since week 2 of the 2021 season. Time to start paying attention. If I'm an A&M fan, I'm yelling from everywhere about them not getting quite enough coverage, because I thought what they did on Saturday night was impressive in the sense that it felt like this long or this huge weight that they were putting on Miss State, and then it just kind of all one of those hydraulic press videos on Instagram. The pressure's coming down, and Miss State's guts just splooted out the sides. It was just a complete trash compactor of a game from A&M. When you can win like that against a really explosive offense like Miss State's, I think that's a statement. I know that they were 2 touchdown favorites, and it got up to 16.5, but they really kind of took it to them, and the run game got going, which I thought was really impressive for A&M too. So ultimately, A&M, go ahead and start chirping, because I think that it's weird for a top 5 team to not be getting a ton of rec and pub. I feel like they're getting a little bit underserved right now. So go talk your stuff, Aggies.
Yeah, and those all-black jerseys were sweet, too.
Oof.
That just made it for a real scary environment at night. Kyle Field, that was awesome. And I'm glad you bring up Miami and Texas A&M, so that's you know where I'm going with this. Who else has to probably start feeling a little better? That should be Notre Dame. Hey, still here. You got 2 top 5 teams in the country. We lost to them. Yes, we lost by a combined 4 points there. We were in both those games. We're just going to hang around. I think they're up to like 16 or 17. And it's so funny how, like, because of those losses for Penn State and Texas this past weekend, all of that discourse that was going around about the Irish and 2 losses in playoff, don't see any of that right now do I? No, that's right, because they're probably going to be there. Notre Dame takes care of business, beats Boise State by 3 touchdowns. Just keep doing what you're doing. Chris Ash, I'll leave you alone for another week. Got a big one against NC State, who can get a little frisky, but that game's in South Bend. I expect Notre Dame to be right there around like 45 points again in that one, because UNC or NC State's defense is just right now. So that's how I sum that up. But yeah, very good. All right, moving on. We're pushing, I think, a little longer than we normally do, but I'm going to set this up for Thursday. This is something I want everybody to think about here. Who are some of the mystery teams in college football? Some teams that you want to learn more about, some teams that you need to see a little bit more, John. And I'm going with Ohio State, which is just, I know it's weird because they're like number 1 or number 2. They're undefeated. They're blowing teams out. I still have questions, though. Like, I know the defense is legit. Sayin looked awesome against Minnesota, and he's looked good against some of these other schools. Like, I think this is a really good measuring stick for him coming up this week. Can he tool on Illinois' defense on the road the way like Fernando Mendoza did at home against them a couple of weeks ago? Like, I want to see Ohio State, like, roll Illinois this week, and then I'll start feeling like, okay, yeah, Ohio State's on their way to, like, competing to defend their title.
Yeah, like coming into the year, I circled this game against Illinois as like the potential trap game or a tricky spot if nothing else for Ohio State. But yeah, I mean, they've just been kind of just working in anonymity, like off to the side. Like no one really,
right?
Like their games aren't in prime time right now because they haven't really been playing anybody since Texas. So I feel like they've kind of largely been forgotten about. It's like you see them just sticking at number 1 every single week, but you don't really know exactly what's going on. It's like, oh, is Carnell Tate rocking up? Yes. Is Jeremiah Smith doing his thing? Yes. Is Sayin getting better? Yes. Is the defense, just pulverizing people? Yes. Like all of those things are true, but like no one really seems to care. I think it's just like Ohio State is like almost like the set it and forget it of college football teams right now, where it's like, I'll catch you guys on the other side when you have like a team against an actual pulse or have to go into a tough road environment, because otherwise, like all of things being equal, you just kind of know that Ohio State is just like that type of killing machine right now.
Right, and the way this is setting up, like I do believe they have Indiana coming up here too. But are we going to get to the point again where it's like we have to wait for the Michigan game to see what Ohio State really is, and then we're going to play that game again because that's gone so well for them the past few years? But yeah, I don't know. Right now, like I know Ohio State is good. Are they the best team in the country though? That's my question. Like, are they that good? And I would like to see them start like really like tooling on some of these like mid to like second tier Big Ten teams instead of what they've been playing so far. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. I'm not trying to knock them, even though it sounds like I really am. I'm just kind of like I got to see them do it against another step up in competition.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of like 22 Georgia because they had that big opening game. Like Georgia beat the crap out of Oregon, and then no one really paid attention to them that much after that because it was just such like a snooze fest. It's just like, okay, they were just crushing like everybody. Like, ooh, Mizzou gave them like a slight bit of a scare in Como at night at one point, but like that it was a very like frictionless season for the Dogs, and it feels kind of parallel in the case of this Ohio State team. But I'm glad that I slipped in a Missouri reference because they're a big mystery team to me. I think they're really effing good.
We're about to find out. We're about to find out.
Yes, we are. This is the game. I honestly thought I was really big on Mizzou going into last year. They had Luther Burden coming back. They had Brady Cook coming back, yep. And they lose Cody Schrader, but it's like, oh, come on, like you can't make that much of a difference. But this Mizzou team, I think, it is very more so mirroring its 2023 team. That was extremely good, that beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, I want to say. Again, right. This is the big game for them. They don't play the type of SEC gauntlet that some of these other teams that we've talked about play. So that means they really have to take advantage of it. I think this one's in Columbia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That can be kind of a funky place to play. I think Mizzou can win that game outright. As much as I like Alabama, I'm willing to believe in this Mizzou team, but I will admit, for the sake of this segment and also just being honest, like I don't fully know everything about them, but all I do know is that like every single week the metrics are saying like this team is just skull dragging everybody.
Yeah, and that line is down within a field goal right now, too. It is Bama's favored by 2.5 on the road. Could be a very interesting spot. I bring up betting just to do. We'll just wrap up quickly. Little recap. Went 7-8 again, John. We're like right there at 500 every single week, or slightly below. I dragged us down a little bit this week. Had some really tough ones. We got lucky with the Bama play.
Yep.
Got very unlucky with UCF.
Yes.
So got to just I don't know. We got to figure it out at this point because we're just like.
We gotta get the big week. We are at the midway point of the season here, so there's still time for us to get our profits, but we got to get some weeks fully in the black and the green. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We got to help the people out. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. 55 minutes. I think that's pretty good for us here on a recap. A lot to get to. A lot of bashing of Texas and Penn State and Bill Belichick at UNC. But anyways, we will be back on Thursday with our Week 7 preview show. Just another monster slate coming up here this weekend. We got big-time matchups coming up that we will preview when we talk to you guys on Thursday. Make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button. Leave a 5-star review. Would help us out a ton. But anyways, for John, I'm Dan. Thanks, guys.